These strawberry cheesecake overnight oats are simply delicious, super creamy and full of fruit, and so quick to make. So come on, let's get cooking. Hello memory makers, I'm Ashley and welcome back to our kitchen, and if you're new here, welcome to Meals Make Memories, where I share with you the recipes I love to help you make memories that matter in yours. And on today's menu is strawberry cheesecake overnight oats, which is basically like having dessert for breakfast. So for our ingredients, we'll need half a cup of strawberries, 3 tablespoons of honey and around a teaspoon of vanilla essence, 2 tablespoons of Greek yogurt, or you can use natural yogurt, 2 cups of rolled oats, and the secret ingredient, 2 tablespoons of mascarpone cheese, and that makes everything really nice and creamy. So the first thing that we need to do is just chop up our strawberries into really nice small pieces. Later on, we're going to be crushing them a little bit, so having them a smaller size really helps with that process. And once you've done all of that, you just want to transfer your strawberries to a bowl, because this is where we're going to be adding a little bit of sweetness and also doing a bit of crushing. And if you haven't tried it already, it is really difficult to try and crush wobbly strawberries on a plate, so I would definitely recommend that you use a bowl. So this is where we put in our first tablespoon of honey. What I like to do with this recipe is have a little bit of sweetness in each layer. So we'll put a bit of honey in the strawberries and later a bit of honey in the mascarpone cheese as well. So proceed to lightly crush your strawberries. If you don't have a fork, you can also use a potato masher, because I find that tends to crush things really evenly and quickly. And then you should end up with something like this. So you've still got some nice chunks of strawberry in there, but it's a bit more watery and a bit more crushed. So moving that to one side, we're now going to focus on creating the overnight oats. So 2 cups of oats inside of a container, and you're just going to add 1.5 cups of a milk of your choice. I'm using soy, to your oats, and you just mix that together really well. Now, I'd mentioned before about adding sweetness to each layer. So once this is mixed well, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of honey to that mixture. And now, in addition to the honey, we also want to add our vanilla essence into our oats. So half a teaspoon goes in, followed by our honey. And then once again, we're going to do a little bit more mixing. If you prefer to use vanilla in its natural state, you could also use vanilla pods and just split the middle and scrape out the contents into the oats, and that would work perfectly well. Adding that vanilla essence really makes this recipe taste like a dessert, and that's exactly what we're going for. So make sure that everything is mixed thoroughly together, and then once that's done, you can leave it to one side in order to prepare the next layer. So we have our base for oats, we have our fruit layer. What's left in strawberry cheesecake? Well, the cheesecake. And so for this, we're going to be making things very creamy. We have 2 tablespoons of mascarpone cheese, which is a lot more dense and heavy, mixed with some lighter Greek yogurt, and once again 2 tablespoons. Mixing those two together alongside half a teaspoon of vanilla essence and once again a little bit of sweetness will make the perfect creamy topping for your strawberry cheesecake overnight oats. So you'll want to mix this until it's really smooth. There's no more lumps, there's no more large clumps of the mascarpone cheese. Everything should be very well combined. I've just added a drizzle of honey. I haven't measured it. You can use up to a tablespoon in order to make sure it's not too sweet, but that there's still some flavour there. And the result should look something like this. You can see there's some soft peaks forming, which would suggest that everything's ready. Now for the container, I'm just using a glass Kilner jar. This was actually a cocktail shaker, but it seemed like a really good size to hold everything. I believe it contains around 1 litre of liquid, So if you have something of a similar size, it should work just as well. And then you're going to pour in your overnight oats into the base, and that's going to form your first layer. I'm just pushing everything down to make sure that every amount of space is taken up. And this is an optional section, but I like to have a bit of strawberry jam mixed in with my strawberry layer. I think having a layer of jam on top of the strawberries stops the mascarpone cheese from just merging too much into everything and looking a bit messy. It just keeps everything nice and compartmentalized. You could also put a thin layer of jam just before you put your fruit to stop your fruit from sinking into the oats, but it's completely optional. So I've just used around a tablespoon of jam, and I'm just spreading that as much as I can around the contents of the fruit in order to prepare it for a layer of mascarpone cheese and Greek yogurt. Now, if you wanted to be neat, you could pipe this in. You could pour in the mascarpone cheese mix into a piping bag if you have that. If you don't, you could also just use a sandwich bag and just cut a hole in the corner and pipe that in. There's no set way to do it. But if you just want a lazy way, take your spoon, scoop it from the bowl and just chuck it in there. We're going to smooth it and flatten it out after anyway, so it won't really make too much of a difference. Now, when it comes to smoothing things down, I found that a really great way to keep everything uniform and flat is to use the back of a spoon, keep it at an angle, and then just rotate the jar round. And doing so, you'll end up with this really smooth, flat surface. And that is it. You can add any extra bits of fruit of your choice or even chia seeds for added protein. And then you simply just put on the lid, pop it in the fridge and leave it overnight. And tomorrow you will have the most amazing dessert breakfast possible. And here is the final result. Deliciously creamy strawberry cheesecake overnight oats. And if you like this video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, or check out my blog mealsmakememories.com for more printable recipes. See you for the next one.